Hello everyone, in this video we will continue overviewing of subsetting in pandas. So there is another way of changing the index of a data frame in pandas, and that's using the setIndex function. Let's see how to do that. So before this, I'll just print the data frame here as you see on the screen. And so right now this is how our data frame looks like. We have these columns, outlet, establishment year, and so on, and the indexes are these random values. Now, one of the advantages of setIndex function is you can actually pass in the name of a column of the data frame, and the setIndex function will create a new label based index using these columns values itself. Let me show you what is happening here. So I want to say for this particular data frame, this column, which is outlet establishment year, should be used as an index. So we are using data.set_index, and our new index is this column, and this is how you do in code. So let's run this. And as predicted, the new index of the data frame is actually outlet establishment year column. And let me also show you what happens when we try to print data.index. It basically gives us the values of this column. So each row is now indexed by a year. So this is the second way by which you can change the index of a data frame. You can actually use this function, and you can do a lot more with this function. That's why I recommend here you read more about this function and its documentation. Now, before we proceed further, let me explain to you a couple of things. First of all, you remember here we were passing two parameters, drop is equal to true and in place is equal to true. Let's understand what these two parameters mean. Now, in order to explain these parameters, I'll have to read the data set again. As you see here, read.csv, datasets, bigmartcell, CSV, so that I can show you the effect they have. So this is me rereading the data set again. And I replace the drop is equal to true by false here. So basically, I'm deactivating this parameters effect. So let's see what happens. As expected, we have the outlet establishment year as the index. And here we still have this outlet establishment year as a column in the dataset. So basically that drop parameter lets you drop the column using which you're creating the index. So if you set the value of this parameter as true, what will happen is whatever column you are using to create the index, that column will be removed from the dataset. And this is a behavior that we usually want a lot because then you're dealing with the problem of duplicate columns. But then again, this depends upon your use case. So this is a very important parameter to know. Now let's talk about the in-place parameter. So just like the previous example, I'll first all set the value of this parameter as false. And let's keep drop is equal to true. And reread this data set. And I'll show you what is happening. So I have set in place equal to false. So now we have the data frame whose index is outlet establishment year, and we scroll down when we say data.head and run this. We have the data frame. Now, do you realize that something has gone wrong here? Even though when we execute this line of code, here we get the correct data frame with the correct index. After some time, when we say data.head, we are still getting the old data frame with old index. So this is what in-place parameter is responsible for. In-place literally means in place. So if you set this parameter as true, what you will get is the original data frame itself will be updated by whatever action you're performing. In this case, we are performing the action of changing the index, and whenever you call the data frame again and again in the future, the index will be changed. So if you say in place equal to false, here, what happens is Panda creates a new data frame with the changes that you have requested and returns that data frame to you. So that's why when we are executing this, we are getting this output. So you can actually save this output into a new data frame. Let's say data_updated equals to new index. And now we can update here to data updated head, and let's run this one first and second this one, and this will give you the new data frame. So this functionality of whether you want to change the original data frame or whether you want to create a new data frame depends upon your use case. But this parameter in place equal to true or false is actually a parameter that is very common in a lot of functions of pandas. And that's why I thought it's a good idea that I explain it here itself. Thank you for watching this video.